Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru. Here with some help. Where'd my board go? Where'd my board go? Okay, I found my board. We're here on section 3-5. This is number 4 and 5. We're going to give you two completely different options to do this. You should know that I've never done a question like this in Algebra 1, so we're going to kind of figure it out as we go. I think what we need from here is like a triple T chart. Okay, so here we'll have x, here we'll have f of x, g of x, and h of x. Okay, now h of x is the sum of f of x and g of x. So what we need to do is just, anytime we're trying to graph something, we need to get points. Okay? So, let's put in a 0 for our x, and just go real slowly. Where is the function f at 0? It's 0. Where is the function g at 0? It's 2. So, what is 0 plus 2? 2. And we're just going to continue like that for some other points. Notice that the points on this graph are all even, so the next point that I'm going to put in is a 2. For f of x, if I put in a 2, I get a negative 2. For g of x, if I put in a 2, I get right in between a 2 and a 4. So I'm going to call that a 3. If I add negative 2 and 3, I get a 1. Looks like 4 gives us an even point, so let's put in a 4. If I put in a 4, for f of x, it's down here, it's negative 4. For g of x, looks like it's positive 4. Add them up, you get a 0. Okay? Let's just see what those points are. So now let's graph. What you have to understand is, remember, h of x, we could also consider that to be y. So we have ordered pairs here. 0, comma, 2. Dang it. I'm just taking this number. 2, comma, 1. 4, comma, 0. So now let's graph those points. Love it. It looks like this is forming a line. Let me test a point. Let's see what would happen if I put in a negative 4. And see if it's on this line. If I put in a negative 4, for f of x, you get a 4. For g of x, you get a 0. At negative 4, I would expect to get 4. Nice. That seems like it lines up with our blue dots. So as it turns out, the sum of two lines is simply another line. And that line right there in blue, that line is the line that represents h of x. I really like that way, and I would recommend you doing it that way if you like it, but I am going to show you a more algebraic way to do it. Okay? Let's try to figure out the equation for a of x. What do we need to know to have an equation? Well, there's two different types of equations. There's point slope, and there's slope intercept. Okay? So, what do we know about a of x? Let's look at a little T chart. I know that at 0, we get 2. That's nice. That means our y-intercept is 2. Keep looking at a of x. I know that at negative 2, I get 0. And I think that's all the information I need, because I can get the slope from these points. The points 0, 2, and negative 2 comma 0. Let's do change in y, 2 minus 0, over change in x, negative 2 minus 0. Nope, I can't change the order like that. I need to wake up. 2 minus 0 over 0 minus negative 2. You get 2 over 2, and that's 1. God bless this thing. So, now we have our b, we have our m, so our equation for a of x is y. Well, I won't call it y, I'll call it a of x. ViewSonic, baby. Bringing you all your terrible video needs. So, a of x, this is nuts. A of x is 1x plus 2. Let's look at that a of x and make sure that equation makes sense. Is it a positive slope? Yes. Does it hit the y-axis at 2? Yes. Okay, I'm down. Now let's do some research on b of x. B of x is not going to be as easy because we'd have to know exactly what that point was. And while I do think we could figure out that point, I'm going to go about this using point slope. So let's find the slope. So I know that b of x contains the point 4 comma negative 2. And I know it contains the point negative 6 comma 2. Okay, so now let's find the slope. Negative 2 minus 2 over 4 minus a negative 6. Well, 4 minus a negative 6 is a positive 6. So what do we get? We get negative 4 on the top, 10 on the bottom. You get negative 2/5. Okay? So, now let's use this point slope idea. Let's use this point and that slope. So y minus a negative 2 equals negative 2/5 times x minus 4. Negative 2/5 times negative 4 is positive 8/5. Okay? Let's subtract 2 from both sides. And if you want to write this 8/5, you could write that as a decimal. It's 1.6, whatever you prefer. So you get y equals negative 0.4x plus, sorry, that's minus 0.4. So y equals negative 0.4x minus 0.4. Okay? That is b of x. That's a tough equation. So when we add them together, you get, what do we get when we get them together? Well, you get S of x equals equals 0.6x plus 1.6. Okay? All right, well, 1.6. If you do, let's see, 2 divided by 5. So every one of these is 0.4. This is 0.4, 0.8, 1.2, 1.6. So ironically, this is the y-intercept. And then if I go over 1, I'm going to go up 0.6, which is going to be here. Oh, that's not 1. Let's just pop in another point. Let's pop in another point. So let's make a t-chart. If I put in a 0, I get a 1.6. If I put in a 2, I get 1.2 plus 1.6. You get 2.8. So if I put in a 2, I get 2.8. Okay? So now the pink line is going to look like that. Okay? And that's a different way to do that problem. I hope this helps. Thanks for asking the question. Boom!